The man who perpetrated the deadliest attack on American soil, Osama bin Laden. Turns out a fair share of Gen Zers don't think he's such a bad guy. 1 in 5 young Americans polled said they have a positive view of the Al-Qaida founder. 31% of Gen Z voters believe the views of the terrorist leader who killed thousands on September 11, 2001, were a force for good. That's according to a poll by DailyMail.com and JL Partners. News Nation talked to the man who conducted the poll, James Johnson, who said he's disgusted by the findings.
Families of the victims spoke to the Daily Mail about this poll, and they talked about their anger and frustration and disgust at this viewpoint. And all I can say is I sympathise entirely with them, I completely share their disgust.
Some U.S. lawmakers say the findings may serve as a warning. Democratic Representative Jared Moskowitz wrote on X, 20% of young people have a positive view of bin Laden. While we focus on enhancing our physical borders, we must also realize foreign countries have infiltrated our kids' minds through online propaganda. When 18 to 29-year-olds were asked what they thought of the 9/11 mastermind, 8% said they had a completely positive view, while 12% said they had a somewhat positive view. 8% of the Gen Z group said his views were good, but his actions were bad. The poll comes a little over a month after bin Laden's letter to America went viral on TikTok. The video has since been taken down, but not before it sparked debate amongst young Americans about the Israel-Hamas war. The video condemns U.S. support for Israel's occupation of Gaza and resonated with some who called for a ceasefire in the war. Time reports one user said, quote, "Everything we learned about the Middle East and 9/11 and terrorism was a lie," end quote. Others on social media criticized the video as sympathizing with terrorists or giving credence to violence. In a statement on X, TikTok said, quote, "Content promoting this letter clearly violates our rules on supporting any form of terrorism. We are proactively and aggressively removing this content and investigating how it got onto our platform," end quote. The man responsible for nearly 3,000 deaths in the U.S. was known for his anti-Semitic views. As the war in Gaza continues, anti-Semitism is on the rise. The FBI reports anti-Semitism is reaching historic levels in the U.S. The Daily Mail study comes during a tipping point in worldviews with increasing numbers of pro-Palestinian protests in major cities across the U.S. and the world and on college campuses. Some college leaders are under fire for their lack of response to anti-Semitism rising on their campuses. Former president of the University of Pennsylvania, Liz McGill, resigned after a congressional hearing in which she was asked whether calls for Jewish genocide would be grounds for bullying and harassment under university policy. McGill and the other presidents from Harvard and MIT responded that it would be context dependent. Her reply prompted the Wharton Board of Advisors to call for her immediate resignation. Another Daily Mail poll in October found 1 in 10 voters under the age of 30 had a positive view of Hamas, despite the group's terror attack on Israel on October 7th, in which militants killed 1,300 people and kidnapped more than 200 others.